Yo, how's it going, brother?
What is up? What is up?
Hey, man. Yeah, awesome. So another Tuesday night of TOYLEET Entertainment. Um, for those that aren't familiar, just join us for the first time. Hopefully, you'll enjoy the show. We're the TOYLEET, and we've got Ed. I'm working on this, guys, but Ed Axion Figs.
And this guy over here is Travis, Mr. Wonderful,
Awesome. Thank you very much, brother. And we are
the TOYLEET.
TOYLEET. Awesome. Yeah. So, if you're not followed us yet and just checking us out for the first time, we like to go through toys, talk plastic, kind of, talk about things in general sometimes, go off on a tangent here and there. But, you know, one of the things we like to tell everybody is go check out other shows if you're looking for quality content, right? No. If you're looking for,
if you're looking for like good, that's not dumpster worthy, go somewhere else. You're the wrong
no.
place.
If you're looking for more of the mainstream toy industry news, that's not us, right? We'll talk some Joes, we'll talk some of the bigger brand stuff from time to time, but for the most part, we like to talk independent toys that are out there. That's where my toy lines are and what I'm collecting a lot of. We also like to support the community, right? We like to support folks like a Punkwood Toys, Hella Dope Toys. Some of the other people we've given shout outs to, like Realm of Toys 89 over there on Instagram, big photography, and then some shout outs from the Crick. That's your specialty, right, Ed?
Rock and roll.
And then we talk about, like I said, the weekly news of those independent toys, and we always have a main topic, like tonight's topic, right? We're talking beyond the shelf, how we integrate toys into the everyday life, right? So folks use toys for different things. Some people do it in photography. Some people use it just to kind of like while you're sitting at your desk doing a work conference call, you kind of like toy around with it, pose it, mess around with it, different things. Some people bring them to Disney on trips and lose parts to that go to them.
That's right.
So, we'll be talking about that a little bit later, but we like to go through a number of things, and that's kind of how we do our jam. If you got suggestions and stuff, shoot it in the chat. We always love feedback, and we'll continue to evolve the program as we continue to move forward. Ed, what's up, brother?
That's right.
You wanna hit that chat up? It looks like we got some action there.
Yeah, let's see. So tonight we have Payne's Toy Samples joining us. He just changed his show now to Wednesday nights at 8:00. So check him out on tomorrow night on the YouTubes. And we got this guy here. Start this thing already.
This guy?
What's up? Yeah, this guy, Mr. Punkwood Toys.
When you can look me straight in the eye, I'm just kidding, sir.
That's
I'm
right.
just kidding.
The Briscoe 1234 is here. What's up, Briscoe? And just in case you were wondering, this guy's kind of a big deal. The shortest big deal you'll ever find in your life, but he's a big deal.
He is a big deal. And you know why he's a big deal, right? Because he's got mega bucks from YouTube. YouTube pays him to tell us to use YouTube.
That's right.
And I mean, he's a rock star when it comes to that stuff. And I mean, if you didn't catch his show last night, he put a whole crap ton of YouTubers on blast. So definitely catch his stream again. And if you haven't seen it yet, definitely check it out.
Yeah, see who he tears apart over there. And then
Could you believe what he said about that? You heard what he said about the first guy, right?
Yeah, it was horrible. And then, just last week, he was putting people on blast right on the live show, just putting them in their place like he's some kind of, movie star or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Guy's got a head so big he can barely fit through the door nowadays.
Yeah, absolutely.
What's up, Cobb?
Hey, brother. How's it going, Cobb? Nolan?
We are now officially a YouTube toy show because Nolan is in the house.
Yes, we are. I mean, he's in everybody's streams.
That's right.
Like, there's a few guys that will always at me in those chats, and he's one of them.
Yeah. And Joe, what's up, Joe? Joe G. Joe has been on Let's Go Off World for the last couple of weeks, talking about a lot of Mythic Legion stuff. So great show.
He's a big Mythic. He's a big Mythic guy, right?
Yeah, does all sorts of amazing customs on Mythic Legions. What's this guy saying? Don't rip on big, giant, successful YouTubers or overthrow. We'll try to keep that to a minimum for you, Punk. We don't want to hurt your feelings.
I thought the whole rule, Ed, was for every sub you have, we have to trash him that many times.
I thought that's what the unofficial YouTube rules were. Yeah. I thought so. So we're on
you know what?
We're only on 3 out of 4,000, so we're good.
And we should probably ask him because he's the YouTube guy, so he would know.
Yeah, right, exactly. What's up, Mr. Dark Claw? Thanks for popping in. Lots of back and forth, and that's it for the chat right now.
Awesome. Good deal. Cool,
Thank-
brother. So, what was that?
I said thanks to everybody for showing up.
Yeah, thank you, everyone. So, how's your week been going so far? I know it's only Tuesday.
Doing good this week, man. I got some time off yesterday, so I was out in the woods, and I worked out. I only worked 4-hour shift yesterday, so I
Gotcha.
left work, changed in the bathroom before I left, stopped at the woods on the way back before I went home, and
Nice.
had a nice little. I spent probably 3-4 hours out in the woods, drinking some coffee, having some lunch at a little picnic area, and
Okay.
it was a little chilly because it was still only like 45 degrees, but then it warmed up a little bit later on once I was there for a little bit. But
yeah, we definitely get a little bit warmer weather. The pool's getting opened here up in upstate on my end tomorrow. Supposedly, I won't touch that water for at least another 30 days myself. But that's when they could get. We have
you use a solar heater, or do you have like
we have a propane heater, but I try not to turn it on this early because it's too cold out for anybody to want to go in it. I really only use it moderately through the summer if it's a little bit cooler. And just my wife is very finicky; needs to be like 85 to 90 to go in the pool.
Needs to be bath water, not
exactly
pool water. Yeah,
exactly. So
you should just get a jacuzzi.
we just have it for
It'd be
that.
cheaper.
Yeah, good deal. Wait till. We'll just change his name there, right? It'll be Punk 5000. That's what right. That's what his name will be. Power Punk 5000. Once he gets there. So
too much.
I think that's kind of the jam right now.
That's my week.
I didn't pick up anything new this week. How about you?
I did not get a chance. Well, I did pick up one thing today at Walmart. I totally forgot about it. I just remembered. But not a big deal. I got it. It's for my friend, actually. My friend who lives in Africa right now. Is a big Green Lantern fan. So Cobweb has sent me a Green Lantern figure that he ended up buying just for the Build-A-Figure piece, but he didn't want the figure. And Thanos Copter actually sent me a Green Lantern figure that he got that he didn't want. So I'm going to give those to him. And then today I picked up the John Stewart Superpowers figure at Walmart. It was only $1. So
that's you can't go wrong, right?
Yeah. So I picked that up for him, throw it in the box too. I was like, fuck, for $1, I'll do it. So
awesome. Yeah. That I'm starting to hear a trend there, though. Your friend's a Green Lantern fan. Sounds like nobody else is, and that's why you have a ton of them to send out his way, right? No. I myself, you know me, I'm not DC.
There's a Green Lantern's a weird character because there's a lot of people that are actually fans of the Green Lantern, but they're usually fans of John Stewart or fans of guy. I just lost his name. But anyway, individual Hal Jordan, that's the guy.
Gotcha.
Individual Green Lantern characters, right?
Well, there's so many, right?
Right. And so, but he's always been a fan of Green Lantern. So, it's kind of funny because I hang out with 3 other dudes we're all really good friends. We go on trips together once a year, just hang out, get out away from, life and everything. And I'm a huge Batman fan. My one friend's a huge Superman fan. He's a huge Green Lantern fan, and the other guy loves the Flash. So we almost have the full JLA covered.
Nice. Actually, I know I didn't talk to you about this as part of the plan for tonight, but I said this in the beginning. We kind of deviate off things, but as we're talking about Green Lantern, made me think of movies, and I'm pretty sure, who was that guy? Ryan Reynolds, aka Deadpool. He played Green Lantern, right?
Yes, he did.
Which leads me to the fact that I checked out the new
the new trailer.
The new trailer for that this morning at like 6 or 7 o'clock in the morning. And all I know is, does anybody want to build a snowman?
Yep.
So I'll leave it at that. Did you get a chance to check it out yet?
I checked out I love the trailer, dude. I loved in the original Deadpool when he actually made fun of the Green Lantern movie.
Yeah.
Breaking the fourth wall was awesome.
Yep.
Real quick, let's say hi to Fat Red Foo.
Good deal. Hey, Patrick? Buddy. How's it going, man?
And then my buddy's Customs popping in here. At 5,000, you'd become too powerful to your own good. And we would
that means we're going to have to get the glove and the rings. And we're gonna have to snap him off the planet because Punk's too powerful.
That's right. And that'll be what he'd do. He'll be like, like you said, he'll be Power Punk 5000. You'll start wearing a freaking cape or some, mask or something,
he'll start. What he'll do is he'll actually take his camera and he'll move it lower on his desk so he
Yeah.
towers over it.
Well,
And
yeah, you know what'll happen is he'll be like that old cartoon where I can't remember the name of it, but the kid would like Shazam, but like the kid would be really small, then all of a sudden he'd be turned into Shazam and he'd get really big and powerful. That's what Punk's gonna do. When he becomes Power Punk 5000, he'll grow to like 6'2",
and
hair,
he'll have
full
long,
hair, yeah, full
long
wavy hair,
blonde curly hair. Yep,
yeah,
exactly.
exactly.
He's making so much. He's gonna sue Bud, so he can never say the name Lawrence again. That is awesome. Great. I mean, so
we can make him our best friend. Yeah.
Exactly. So did you like it?
I'm really excited for it. Yep.
I am too. I mean,
those two guys together though are hilarious. Like, they go back and forth in real life, and it's super funny to watch it. So
my big thing for that is I have not been, I won't say I've been disappointed with a lot of the Disney stuff. I just haven't been over the top for it. I'm so pot committed for so long now. I watch it every time it comes out just because I want to see where it's going in hopes that even with a couple, speed bumps along the way, it's going to project into something bigger and better.
We're all hoping for that, that like revitalization where all of a sudden Iron Man 1 is back on the screen, right?
Exactly.
We
were spoiled for so long that we got so much, and I'm not going to say that the content hasn't been a little less than enjoyable at some times.
I think that's part of the problem, though. I think it's definitely overdone. I think Disney needed to like do Endgame and then just back away from it for a year or two and just let that whole thing ride out, right? And then bring it back, And they did the same thing with Star Wars. It was like Star Wars. Star Wars was fabulous when we were kids, and like Luke loves the trilogy, the prequel trilogy, because that was his Star Wars when he was a kid.
Okay.
But that was like once every 3 years they would come out, so you had that time to build up and relish in it and wonder what was going on and what's going to happen next and all this other stuff, right?
Yeah.
Oh, we got a first time joiner. Harry.
How's it going, Harry? Thanks for jumping in, brother.
Harry Zero. I don't know if that's a zero or no, but what's up? Another toy podcast, first timer here. What's up, man? Awesome. Thanks for popping in.
It's fuel of the Schwartz, Punk. It's fuel of the Schwartz. But so I'm pumped up for it. That'll be cool. That said, I didn't get any pickups this week, but I did unbox something. And that unboxing relates to this week's TOYLEET or toilet. And this week I went ahead, and I'm just going to jump in here for myself, Ed. We'll go bigger. And I went with the WWE Mattel Ultimate Edition Brock Lesnar. This figure I just got. I got into the Ultimates a little later in the game than I had wanted to. Just because I had already had so many elites and such. I was pretty happy with this figure. Maybe not my favorite. I'm not going to flush it. It's going to go up on my shelf above me in the background with the rest of my WWE Ultimates. But I'm not a huge fan of the head sculpt, but it is accurate. It's accurate to the time in which when, Brock was wearing the, ponytail there and shaving his head, cutting up cows with the, the meat guys on YouTube. So I'm happy with it.
How'd they do on the tattoos?
Tattoos are pretty good. Let me try to bring this in a little bit closer. They've got the chest tattoo in there, and it's up a little higher underneath the chest so you can see it. And since they have this, I mean, obviously when you crunch it, it kind of deteriorates it. On the back, he's got the good artwork there. They do a pretty solid job.
Came out nice, that one did.
Yeah, they do a good job. You got the ones on the arms. They're, that one's. I'd have to go compare it. I didn't really pay attention to that one too much. But, it had the skull on the other arm there. I thought they did good. They came with 6 set of hands, so that I could use different hand styles. I ended up putting the ones that could just kind of hold the straps on his chest, so he looks more, casually, like just rocking the titles on the Hexa stack up next to the rest of the guys.
And is the ponytail articulated or is it just kind of floppy? Like it does.
Yeah, no, it's stuck to the head there. You may or may not be able to see it all that well.
Yeah, I can see. So
but
it's down the back of his head. Yeah.
So he'll be going right onto one of my QC fail Hexastack stands, as you can see right here.
Hey man, that stand is amazing.
Little plug for upcoming May 18th release as we're targeting, and everything's on track right now. We also have the other. Oop, I dropped that one, but just trying to, you got the screaming head for Brock. Same situation with the ponytail. Like I said, I might go snag one of my older elites that he had, and
that screaming head might look good on like a barbarian figure, like with a sword like over his head, just like jumping off a cliff or something in a photograph.
I've thought of it. It kind of looks. I could kind of use it depending on because he does. Pulling over one of the Masterverse, it is kind of in scale with like the Masterverse figures.
So I bought the who was the dude that was wrestling with Randy Orton for a while? The one that got fired. What the hell was his name?
I know who you're talking about. Give me a second. He actually went to school right out here next to me, like one school district over.
Oh, really?
Matt Riddle. Yeah. He used to work with me. He used to work with me at a Best Buy locally. He was in high school, going to do MMA training, and he was doing like jujitsu and stuff at the time. And then he moved away and went to college, I think, in Pennsylvania. But yeah, so Matt Riddle, he was a big burner.
So I bought his figure and made him into a barbarian and popped Mezco head directly on him, and he fit in good with like the AWOCs and stuff battling him. So just something to think about.
Thanks, Punk. I'm colorblind, dude. I couldn't tell that wouldn't work with that one. Yeah.
Well, Punk didn't know which one between Aaron and Ted was the black dude. So I mean,
right, exactly. So the nice thing is Mattel makes the Masters of the Universe. So I mean, it's a little small, maybe, but the
peg fits though, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, it slides right on there.
Yeah.
So there's some work to be done there if I choose to do so. But yeah, so I'm not going to flush this one. It's not, it came with everything I would want. I'm just not a huge fan of the head sculpt because
I wasn't a huge fan of that. You can't really knock the toy for that part of it, right?
Exactly. Yeah, man. So another successful one, but I will say this one kind of dangled on the rim of the seat for a minute.
Yeah.
Because the one belt, and I will say this for anyone who's into these, excuse me, I don't know if it was limited to just mine. And let me just go to big screen again one more time here. The belt, the paint app on the belt is a little messed up, and I don't know if that's an issue with like just mine or whatnot.
There's probably several of them out there that way, but it's probably whatever painter was there, doing that.
The gold trim around it is just a little off. So, but again, what I did was I just put it on his hand, and I put it on his shoulder, and I put his hand over that section of the belt, so it's not as noticeable. And it works.
Up on the shelf, you never notice it anyway. So
exactly.
Before we jump to the next section, let's shout out to Thanos Copter real quick. What's up, Thanos? And Oz is popping in saying hello, friends. Thanks for stopping by, Oz. And let's roll with it.
Yeah. So we're going to go into the shout out from the crick.
All right. Shout out from the crick. This week's shout out is for Derek Hoover and his team over there at yesterday's podcast. So yesterday's podcast has been around for a while. They've done podcasts, a lot of them on other media platforms, but Derek and the team over yesterday's just recently moved over to YouTube. So they're at like 38 or 40 subs right now. So, if you guys are into like going over old toy lines and old cartoons and stuff like that, yesterday's podcast is great. Derek's a really cool guy, real fun guy to hang out with. He's joined us on the Clubhouse on Saturday night on Oz's channel. And really cool guy. So yeah, go over there and give him a sub and show some support for that. The new YouTuber guys, even though they've been around for a while, they're new on YouTube, and you can follow them guys on Instagram too. But I don't know what their Instagram channel is or name is.
Yeah, so I didn't find an Instagram. If you go to their website, the yesterdaysmedia.com, seem to have all their stuff, with most of a focus on X/Twitter. And their own page. So definitely check it out. It seemed like they had some blog articles and stuff when I was checking it out.
They got some cool stuff on, like I said, old cartoons and old toy lines and, just old media, things like that. So
awesome.
Yeah. Cool. Give those guys a follow, show them some love.
Absolutely. Go ahead. Give that like, subscribe over there, help grow their channel, and continue to support those in our community. And Ed, as always, thanks for shouting out from the crick. Brings us to the weekly news, brother. Before I jump into the news slides, any news from toy lines that maybe I didn't think to cover? I know you've seen these, but do you want me to go through these, or you'll add at the end?
No, I think we covered all the stuff that we like to cover. So let's roll through it. If I have anything to add.
So broken record here. one of my favorite lines, again, going back, you want your major corporations, Mattel, Hasbro, those things. We don't really focus a ton on the news. If something game changer major we want to talk about, we'll have it in here. But our focus is on those independent toy lines like, A-Walk, Four Horsemen, things like that, right? So we'll continue to add things there. My one that's, close to my heart is the Animal Warriors of the Kingdom double back on Series 2. That closed out last week, I think, about a day after we had our last show. So I just wanted to give an update there. They surpassed massively their goal of the $100,000. They landed somewhere in the 352,000 mark with almost 10,050 people roughly. Right now they're in that post Kickstarter resting period, which means they've got a crap ton of work and they're not resting. They're doing a lot of prep work. I know Adam, highly articulated, is over there working on getting their creative team together for the backer kit and getting that all ready for, to ensure they have what they need, getting, stuff ready for the factory to submit. I'm sure they'll be continuing to update things on the Kickstarter campaign as they progress. One of the things that I felt good about this Toy Lines Kickstarter situation is that they've done it before. This ain't their first time to the rodeo. Personally having met Jason at PowerCon last year and, owning a crap ton of their product already, I have a very, very high probability that you're really just doing a, really good price pre-order when you do this Kickstarter and support.
The other thing is with Animal Warriors of the Kingdom, and one of the reasons that makes it great, besides the toys are great, and, we've all talked about how wonderful the toys are, and Punk's talked about how these toys are built for kids to play with, and stuff like that. Jason and Adam and Brick and I always call him Nowhere Man because that's what I know him by. I can't think of his name.
Derek.
Derek. All those guys are really great guys, right? When you go to when I met them all at PowerCon, they were, shaking hands and hugging people and laughing and joking, having a good time with the fans of the line, right? It wasn't like, I'm on this side of the table, you're on that side. You just stay where you're at, They're really open to talk and tell you insider secrets and things like that.
Yeah, overall good. Spiro's a good company from what I've experienced, and very happy to discuss things with them and support them anyway. So yeah, keep your eye out. Things to come later on in the year. We should be getting some of those first releases from those initial waves that are going to be coming out later on in the year. But continue to see they've got their tour that they've been doing, or they wrapped up. You can go check out all that on a ton of different channels out there. I think even Punk had them on at one point, right towards the end. Hella Dope had them, as they were getting ready to wrap up. So yeah, A-Walk Kickstarter's over. Probably the last you'll hear from me for a little bit until we get some new news with the Wave 4 stuff releasing.
Speaking of A-Walk, I had a chuckle to myself last night on Punk's channel. I don't know if you saw it, but Inutabi, who co-hosts with Kato, right?
Yes.
And Kato does a lot of Animal Warriors of the Kingdom coverage as well. Punk called him immutable.
Actually, I did see that last night. That was
I got a good kick out of that.
Yeah.
Immutable. I was like, what?
And that's the thing. You don't have a co-host there. You don't have somebody screening your messages. It definitely adds to the excitement and randomness that may occur.
So real quick, let me pop in with some news in the chat. So I forgot about this. Thanos said that his Mysteries of the Mythos Four Horsemen box, that that's the blind box. You pay $75, you get the 2 figures for.
Yep.
Those went up, and I don't know if they're sold out already or not, but Thanos has shipped already. And
then, I saw a bunch of that.
The HMS from Hasbro Pulse, which is a G.I. Joe tow behind vehicle. Punk's got charged for his last night. So
is that your Hims box order?
Yep, that's his Hims box order.
Okay.
He got the hair stuff that.
Oh, okay, good.
Yep.
Good. Awesome.
Punk's gonna hate us by the time this show's over.
Oh, absolutely. We're totally getting blackballed from YouTube. We're gonna have to go find a whole different platform at this point since he owns it. I mean, there's the CEO and then Punk, who's like a consultant to the CEO.
I know they're gonna ban us from YouTube. We're gonna have to go on Twitch or X or something.
Yeah, he'll just come in and own that a couple weeks later with all that YouTube money.
Yeah, so, Sparrow was on his show because I'm so big. They reached out to me asking to be on it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Dude,
man.
you don't have to tell me. Jason
You
showed
know,
me you slide into his DMs begging and
yeah,
pleading for him to show up.
yeah.
Don't overcast here,
If that
punk.
boy's head gets any bigger, he's going to be looking like a Funko Pop.
He's got the scale going.
That's right.
Oops. No, I love you, punk. You know that. The next thing is the Jiu-Jitsu fighters. We talked about these. They only had a couple days left when we last looked, and they didn't surpass $10,000. Which I had looked online, did a little bit more research, and saw that they actually tried running this a secondary campaign. It looked like back in like
Yep.
March or something. Like it looked like they tried to start a second one at some point. I'm not sure. They didn't succeed. They were very thankful. They sent out a message. Express gratitude. So I guess this is run by Icon Heroes is the company name. They didn't reach the goal, but that they're going to continue to move forward, despite the setback and try to bring these figures to market. So for those that missed out, looks like you may have a chance in the future, depending on the route they go. Obviously, they've invested a little bit of time and money, and at least a little bit of time and money into this to get it going. I'm assuming they may have some other alternative plans to try to
They
bring
probably
this
have
to
some
fruition.
private investors or something. I mean,
Yeah.
it's something that would be cool, but it's first of
It's
all,
niche.
all the bodies are, the same, right? With animal heads, right? I would be down for a head pack, a head and hand pack or something like that, right? I mean, I'd
Yeah.
definitely be down for it, but
Yeah.
I don't need a cat karate fighter. I can make one of those with an AWOC head and Jada Toys Street Fighter figure or whatever.
Oh yeah. I mean, you could almost make like the guy from Tekken, right? That I have on order with Helidope. So go out and order from Helidope. I can't think of what his name is.
I think Payne's having some tech issues. He says this was fun. I'll check back in a few. Technology is so much fun. So
I think Punk's having some issues too. He's having a hard time reaching the keyboard in his last comment.
oh yeah.
I don't know if you saw that one. Oh, that was Roman's first post. Okay, cool. So Icon Heroes, is that Harry O is asking if that was Fwoosh? I don't know.
Fwoosh Toys was it was something like that, but that wasn't Icon Heroes.
Okay.
Fwoosh
I didn't think they were related. I feel like we would have seen more publicity on the
Fwoosh was Articulated Icons, I think is what they were
okay.
called.
Okay, actually I think that's right.
Yeah.
Okay. So keep your eye out. There may be more to come news on this, see where it goes. Unfortunately they didn't make it. On the next one, collecting on gonna circle back up on Galactic Valor. We talked about this a little bit more in detail last week. They're currently just under 36 hours left. This was taken this morning. They were about 86% to goal. So with a little over a day left to fund, I'm curious to see if it makes it to the finish line. We've talked about this. They were up against, in my opinion, some stiff competition in things like AWOC. Hasbro always having their stuff going.
This could be another one though that still gets produced because Toys already has a toy line out. So I mean, they can
I did see
this one.
I did see them comment. I thought I saw something that like if they don't reach the initial funding and it's not met, they aren't proceeding with it. I think I read something like that. I could be totally making that up in my own head, but I thought I saw something on that. They currently, obviously are appreciating the current, promotion and support from those that have come in. They do have 24 hours, right? And we've seen things jump $100,000 on AWOC in a day. Yep. So, hopefully for those that are interested in it and the producers of it, they do have the opportunity to bring Valor to production.
I haven't seen any like YouTube videos about them other than Sir Dork doing stuff.
There wasn't many. I did see something. I thought it was from Nikki, who did some of the paint masters for Savage Crucible. I saw her comment the other day, and it brought it to my attention. And because like to me, as somebody who respects and appreciates the Savage Crucible stuff, I feel like Galactic Valor, her kind of putting her name next to it in any way gives it a little bit more added value or faith in it. So we'll see what happens.
Like you said, though,
I hope it does.
They could pop up overnight easily, right?
Exactly. I'm really interested to see where this is. Hey brother, what's up, Brick?
Where we go by TOYLEET. Lawrence lives by TOYLEET. He is the leadest bastard of the group.
So. Oh, he's just between you guys. That guy's Kevin Nash. This guy's Scott Hall, and Punk. He's Hulk, man. He's the Hulk. He's the guy. Don't talk to him. He doesn't job to anybody.
That's right. That's right. He will not subside to anybody. He will not
Yeah,
lose to anybody.
exactly.
Yep.
Exactly.
And if
So
we keep
that's
busting his
Galactic
balls,
Valor.
he'll be turning heel real soon.
Yeah, and we got this one here. I went and grabbed the Brutal Realm, put that up there. Wanted to
Yeah.
make sure we were getting into some of these. This is not a live Kickstarter yet, but it's got some interesting stuff coming. I don't want to say I've been critical of it, but you sent this picture over to me the other day, so I started digging into it a little bit more. Brutal Realm, it's a toy line that's come into fruition by Realm Toys LLC. The company was co-founded by Jason Soley, also known as Grim Spectre on Instagram. He designs and crafts toys, kind of cultural around historical time periods and stuff. Their goal is to launch kind of a diverse set of characters. We're using kind of ancient folklore from what I've seen. And this is their inaugural line. There's a Kickstarter coming soon. I will definitely be keeping my eye on it. Not 100% sure how I feel about these because to me, the figures are very bulky. I want to see more with these. I don't know if these are just scaled up a little bit for, those original models or whatnot, or what,
Yeah.
at worst,
I
could see myself.
really like the design of the guy in the middle, and then the dude on the end. The guy, I guess he's supposed to be like a Native American type of dude with the
Okay.
Firebird on his chest. I'm guessing
Oh,
because
okay.
it kind of looks that style, right? I don't know what he
Yeah.
is really, but he looks that way to me. He seems like his shoulders are just too square.
Yeah, they look too boxy. Like
Yeah,
they're like Danny DeVito if he was jacked up and
Yep.
Had wide like if Danny DeVito and Arnold Schwarzenegger were actually merged into one in the movie
Yeah.
Twins, and they were short and stocky wide. It's just
Right.
it's kind of
And then
it's
like
different.
with the musculature, right? The shading on them is so
It's
heavy that it makes it
intense.
stand out too much, right? Now
Yeah, it's
that,
intense.
like you said, that might just be to get the picture so they actually show the contrast and the sculpting and
Yep.
everything that's in there. So maybe when they come out with the real toys, it's not that heavy, but it just looks really heavy in these images.
Yeah, I was looking into it a bit more today, and I find it interesting. I would probably back this if I saw it come, depending on the price point. If it's in that
Right.
$30 to $40 range,
Yep.
and they were doing just these 3 figures, I'd probably grab one of each, and hope that the head sculpt would fit some other body
Yep.
that I could
Yeah.
use. Because I do like that center one. He kind of makes me think of like a like a Hercules or Conan type character.
That head in the middle reminds me of Beastmaster.
That's what it is. I was trying to put my finger around it. That's what it is. It reminds me of Beastmaster for sure.
Yep.
Even with the shoulder straps and stuff. Yeah. So I'm interested to see what happens. So we'll be keeping an eye on that. Probably won't have too many updates until we see a little bit more, come out from them. But we'll be keeping our eye on that over here on TOYLEET. The next
Briscoe.
one. Oh,
Briscoe said something real quick. That makes sense. That guy on the end has the eagle from the Romans, so that makes sense.
Yep. Well, they do mention that they want to focus on, ancient folklore, reflecting on those types of elements, some kind of contemporary myths with, their creative design style.
And Thanos is asking what scale did they end up on? Do you know? Did they say?
It says 1/12 scale, but again, that 1/12 is such a...
That can go anywhere from 5 3/4 up to 7.5.
Yeah, it's such a it's open to interpretation approach with that. It's a great scale, but it's also very open.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's kind of like 1/18th, right? Because 1/18th is 3.75 to 4 inch. I mean, that's a big difference in that small of a scale for figures.
Yep. The next one is a new one to the show here is Fist. I've been following this for a while. They tried to kickstart. This is stuff that's originally created by Don Man Art. I used to subscribe to his what are those things called? Patreon, get 3D prints and stuff. Yeah. I think his name is, and I'm probably gonna mispronounce it, but it's like Esteban Cifuentes, if I'm pronouncing it anywhere near what it's supposed to be. He's a really cool dude. I've actually talked to him. Awesome. I talked to him a bunch offline. Actually talked to him today. So the updates I'm going to give right now are actually, current as of today. He shared with me, obviously we know that they had an unsuccessful Kickstarter when they first tried to run there. They did get kind of go a unique way. These toys are all being manufactured and produced in Colombia, which, if you followed any of the toy community out there, you've heard from like the Bobby Vala and others that it can be difficult to produce this stuff with injection molding outside of, China, where they've, had a lock on it for years. So, this is his first time coming out of Colombia with these action figures. That's his all being produced there. He actually, when I was talking to him today, said, "Hey, when you promote this, just remind everyone, first and foremost, the concept of the toy line, but more importantly, like, we're producing these in Colombia with injection molding." So he's really proud of that. And I think it's really cool because if it does work out,
I think today the day, or maybe yesterday, I saw him share a couple of factory shots.
That was today, which is that was today, which I didn't put those on here, but I did capture some pictures. You can see here what I
love the looks of this vehicle, man. I do. I love it.
It's called the Night Wolf, I believe, is what it's referred to as. And it looks really cool. Some plans to have pre-orders coming out later on this year, so get ready for those. I thought that was a pretty badass looking vehicle, more post-apocalyptic kind of. Ramped up. Looks like it could seat some people, so it could give some of those other 112.
Depending on the price point of this vehicle, this will be my Monster Force vehicle.
It's perfect for that. Yep. I mean, it would work perfect with Action Force. It would work perfect with the Joes, but with that post-apocalyptic thing. So it's interesting. It looks really cool. I'm interested to see what comes from it. You can also see up in the right-hand corner, I've got a picture of one of the action figures from I believe to be the first wave that he's coming out with, which is the news that I have. Having talked to him, I don't know if this has been announced elsewhere, but he did share with me when I inquired. They're currently in the process of sending 1,000 units of each of the initial wave characters to the U.S. With estimated, arrival in the U.S. in mid-May. So we're about 3-4 weeks from that, ending up in here, with the expected deliveries to occur in June and July on those first waves. So for what was started out as a failed Kickstarter, was able to connect with the right people and get this produced. I'm really excited to see what he comes out with. Goes that, I want to see what it comes out with, because this will fit in with your Monster Force. This could there's some of the characters could work with Action Force, the Joe, so it'll be really cool. And what Brick said there, with all honesty, of all of the Jeeps I've seen, and I haven't not liked any of them. This one, to me, looks like a badass army.
Yeah, this is just a badass truck that you'd like to see in like a post-apocalyptic military movie, right? I mean, just mowing down zombies or orcs in this case, right? Because the whole premise is humans battling an army of orcs, right?
Yeah, so I don't think we've talked a ton about this line yet, myself, Ed.
No,
it's not something I'll get a ton of. I would likely. I say this as I still have his tank sitting over my shoulder here in the back, still in the box. I don't know, but I think this is a vehicle I would probably get. And there's definitely some of the, even though I've moved away from the military figures a ton, I still get some. I don't know that I would. I don't know that I'd pass on some of these. There are a couple that I think would be some cool additions. I don't know how heavy I'll go into it, but I would likely grab one or two.
Yeah, this is a line that I would definitely pick up a few of the characters. I wouldn't go all in, right? But some of the characters look really, really cool. So, and depending on the price point and the quality, once they come out, I'll buy one, and then if they're good, I'll grab another one or two, right?
Yeah, I gotta check. I don't know if these are for sale anywhere. I'll have to check with Helidope, see if they're getting them, and if not, who else is going to be selling, or if it's going to be like a direct purchase, like Delta 17, or if it's going to be handled differently. I didn't ask that information when I was talking to Esteban, but I'm pretty excited.
And I also know on this vehicle they showed a smaller scale, like 2-seater vehicle of the same type of truck.
Oh, I didn't even notice that. I'll have to go back and check that out for sure.
Yeah.
Cool.
Now, I don't know if that one's being produced, but that they did show pictures of it.
Okay.
Because it was based on the comic book or a cartoon that they had made up, commercial or something.
Yeah, Brick said it's a Dreadnought ride too, and that is exactly what I could see it as. Totally see that as the Dreadnought vehicle. Have what's his name? Drawing a blank. The main one I have.
Zartan, Buzzer.
Yeah, I could see Zartan standing on the back, just like leading the way with his army of folks kind of hanging out the sides of this thing. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to that. And I think the next news item is one that you're really excited about. That's one that you've been talking about for many months.
Oh yeah,
Operation
Monster
Monster Force.
Force.
So
Yep.
so while I was running the news section, if you're cool, I'll let you talk about this real quick because I know this is like
Yeah.
your pride and joy of some stuff that you're interested in.
Yeah. So totally into the Monster Force. So this is the Monster Force's Kilowog, which they end up creating an army of werewolves. The villains do to fight the army of half vampire military team on the good side. But it's pretty
So
cool
this is a
because
good guy or a bad guy?
no, this is a bad guy.
Oh, okay.
This is a bad guy. They're there to fight the half vampire guys that were created to fight the vampires, but or fight the mummy because the mummy's magical powers don't affect the vampire blood. So
Okay.
from Dracula. But anyway, there was one drop of Kilowog blood left, and the doctor gave it to himself and then created an army of Kilowog. But the cool thing is with Fresh Monkey Fiction is that this is actually the Maestro Union Veteran Williams figure with some added details and some different, I think it has a different head sculpt.
Yeah.
So they're
I think
partnering up with all these companies. Like they're using Memory Toys War Bear for the Sasquatch Chatworts figure. So, I mean, it's pretty cool that they're doing this. This figure looks awesome. I love the head sculpt on this figure and the big bladed arm weapon thing that they got. So, this will be pre-ordered. The other good news is that with this being announced for a pre-order this summer, they said they weren't going to release any more pre-orders until they got product in hand. So that means that by summertime, we should start seeing wave 1 flow into BBTS to be shipped out.
Yeah, there's a couple comments in here if you want to open those stars up when you get a second there, Ed.
Yeah, let's do it right now.
Start them, I didn't show them. Yeah, so Monster Force looking dope.
Yeah. It's kind of an interesting how they are using other sculpts. Yeah, they're partnering up with these people so they can, get the sculpts without having to pay for the molds. They're probably, got some kind of agreement to use the molds and make some money.
So that's what I want to talk about for a second because it's very, very much so interests me because of just kind of with the Hexa stock and just getting myself into the the manufacture and production of things, right? It's intriguing and interesting to me from that perspective because it does open up a world of opportunity for some of these other companies that are independent to help support themselves by collaborating with one another when and where it makes sense.
Right.
Like, for instance, we know the Savage Crucible figures are going to be, what is it called?
Interchangeable.
Compatible and swappable, interchangeable with, what's the one?
Almighty Legends.
Thank you. I always mix them up, but Almighty Legends. And looking at those we talked about, it kind of hints towards the fact that they're probably using the body molds from the generic humans that Savage Crucible has done, but they're basically providing those bodies generically with a bunch of armor, which allows them to focus on the armor sculpting and the tooling for that. So I think it's really cool that they're partnering and doing this. And in the end, hopefully it helps the consumer get more alternative products in their hands.
I agree. And also, like, the biggest, most expensive part about making an action figure is the mold, right? So if a company's out there that already has the mold made, why not rent it or buy it from them? It cuts down on the time to create the mold and the 3D models and all that other stuff. And you create a partnership,
Well, and here's the interesting thing, right? Like I've seen some criticism about that and stuff, using other people's molds, but here's the way I look at it. Is it really that bad? I mean, Hasbro, they invest and they make a mold and they use the same mold for 3,000 Spider-Mans. And, the same Captain mold is for Bucky, different things, right? They use that for years.
I mean, Valaverse has used the same body buck with, different layovers for the entire 5 waves they got out now or whatever.
There's one. I think 100 is going to be, I have no insider information, but I think 100 is going to be a cool new buck. Just my intuition there. But, that said, I have seen some criticism around those bucks, being used through different companies. But to me, it's like, if it's different lure, but it keeps toys in scale. Like, if you can come up with it, what's the problem? You even toy, bro.
That's exactly it. Hey, why are you complaining about that stuff, right?
Yeah, I love it. I think it's great, especially for these smaller companies.
Yeah.
It allows them to grow faster, which means they can do things like Spiro's doing with theirs and come out with 17 different, combinations of this and that, and you get all sorts of unique figures. So to me, the collaboration opportunity is a huge one.
Absolutely.
So
So like I said, the good thing news is that with this being announced for pre-order this summer, we should have wave 1 of Monster Force in hand before they do this. So now
yeah,
summer's a big time, right? You got June to August, so who knows when, but
yep.
they have been showing off their paint masters. So you got the paint master of the General Brown with the
Yeah. General Brown. He comes with 3 different head sculpts there. Some
4 different head
weapons.
sculpts.
Oh, 4. I'm sorry. 3
Yep.
alternative head
Yep.
sculpts in addition to the one that's on the base body.
Yep. And
it comes with respective hands for each one of those figures.
And pockets. So one says General Brown, and then the pocket can go on the uniform that's just blank.
Oh,
So
I didn't realize that. That's so
you
cool.
can name
I
your
missed
generals whatever you want to name them. Comes with a bunch of
That's
different
awesome.
sunglasses, so each general can wear its own. So great.
That's cool
thing. And then you got the I'm drawing a blank on the name of these dudes.
Black Watch.
Yep.
Yep.
And they each come with a demon head, which is cool because they can, transform into the demons that fight.
I think it's referred to as the Shadow Ghoul.
Yep.
I think that's what they refer to him as.
Yep.
Yeah.
And these guys
cool.
will have designed weapons by Gridiron Toys.
I was just going to touch on that. Yeah, the Gridiron accessories, right? So that's really cool. And I assume, correct me if I'm wrong, those are going to be injection molded parts. Their weapons.
Gridiron designed them, but they're not 3D printing them.
Right. So they'll look like the Gridiron style weapons.
Yep.
They will function like the injection mold. And in my assumption here is they will lack some of the paint apps that we get from the Gridiron style.
Yeah. And there's also a third Black Watch head that's got blonde hair. So there'll be a third option for that too.
Yeah, and then you can see off to the side, you can see like one of these, I think it was referred to as like the Delta Red accessory pack.
That's Delta Red, accessory pack.
Which comes with the, Operation Zombie defense loadout, which I think is cool. I will probably get some of these just because I think it looks cool. But yeah, man. Yep. So I finished with Monster Force for the weekly news. Do you want to just hit the chat real quick before I go into our main topic?
Pretty much everybody we've popped up because they were talking about the topics at hand. So
awesome.
Cool. Payne did pop back, said finally. So I don't know what he was struggling with, but I'm glad he's back on there. And Rick's comment is pretty good. That's just smart and a time-honored tradition. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Save you money, save you time. Do it, right?
Maybe it saves the consumer a couple bucks too, because they don't have to expend the mold, or it's one less failed Kickstarter, or one less Kickstarter that has to go to
or a pre-order that takes 3 years to get, like some of the other toy companies have had, right?
Absolutely.
And it's mostly mold delays. It's really what it is.
Yeah. So for those that are watching, and both now live or during the replay, do us a favor, make a comment in the live stream here, or in the comments on the replay team, and let us know if there's any other independent lines or upcoming figures that we haven't covered that you guys are interested in. We'd be more than glad to follow them. Anyone that knows me knows that I love new things, shiny things. I'm like, ooh, shiny bug, fly, I kind of, what? Exactly. So,
and real quick, just for Fat Red Foo, him and I talked last week after our show when I showed him the Kilowog. He was asking, some of the Monster Force figures are being made as part of the Eagle Force in the 1/18 modern construction 4-inch line. So they will have some crossover figures in the Eagle Force line. Both Monster Force and Eagle Force are done by Fresh Monkey Fiction, so they are the same characters. So.
Cool. I'm grabbing a comment real quick off my screen to save for later. I want to come back to because they mentioned Morphonauts and Robo Skull, so we'll get those on the. We'll get those on the list. So definitely, I appreciate it.
I forgot all about the Morphonauts.
Yeah, so did I. There's so much.
You and I have talked about it before, but I totally forgot about it.
So many things, man. Like there's just so much stuff out there. 4 Horsemen, we'll get that in there. You guys know we'll bring Savage back when those things are coming up. Any of that. If it's independent, it's TOYLEET, so we'll throw it on here and keep our eye on it.
Fat Red Foo, you have to go on to either BBTS, or which is a swear word, I know, or onto Fresh Monkey Fiction's website and look under the Eagle Force. That's where you'll find the Monster Force characters.
Oh, cool. Awesome. Good deal. And then, Brick said something here. I don't know if you popped that up yet or not, but he really hits the nail on the head here. Yeah, he absolutely does. He's with Thanos. Seriously, the indies need to do more of this. It'll edge out the big boys, let them do things more in pace with what the folks with deeper pockets can do, I think is what he's trying to say there. So yeah, that makes total sense. And it looks like Fat Red got some heads from Krennic Studios.
Yeah.
Fat Red, we'll have to chat offline on that because I definitely want to take a look at what you got there and get your perspective on some of those.
And Thanos says it best right here. Indies are really killing you right now. Absolutely.
This guy. Do you know he could shut us down, right? I've heard rumors he might buy the internet.
I got to tell you this. I was picking on Punk today because we were talking on IG, and I was saying I don't want to inflate your ego or anything. He sends me the clip from Anchorman of him going, "Do you know who I am? I have, I'm kind of a big deal. My home smells of mahogany." It's like,
dude, we're gonna have to cut that. We're gonna have to cut that. My house smells like mahogany. That's gonna be like a Punk with toys on the front, and it's gonna be our knockoff shirt. On the back, my house smells of mahogany. It'll be great. Awesome, cool, man. So then, if that said, dude, let's rock and roll into the next slide here. That's going to bring us to our main topic of the evening. Unlike some other shows out there who will try to draw you in with a misleading topic on Monday nights after 3 hours of rambling, we're really here to talk about this. Mm-hmm. But hey, who are we to judge? He's got 4,000 subs, and he's got that YouTube money.
He's got YouTube backing him. I mean, next week he's going to be announced as like the partnering CEO of YouTube. I mean,
exactly. And for those that don't know,
operations or something.
And for those listening later that may not know, we know Punk personally. Punk's our buddy. We're razzing on him. We love him. We watch his show every week. He's awesome, dude. So the topic this week, beyond the shelf, integrating toys into everyday life, right? So before we talk about this, we got a little something here for you guys.
We're breaking up from the cabinet, toys on the desk, it's the new habitat, TOYLEET take over everywhere, excess tag high in the air, every day's a playground with Mr. Wonderful, in your office, living room, space remarkable, action things hit the trail, through the mud and up the sail, it's a TOYLEET life beyond the shelf, we pre-prepare. Join the takeover, feel the vibe, toys in our world, come alive.
So that's a little preview there for the topic this week. Special thanks goes out to the Teflon and Realm of Toys over there, the Rob and Frankie who provided some of the photos that we used for that video. So thanks to those guys. And if you're not familiar with them, go check them out on Instagram. Give them a sub and a follow on there or a like. They put out some cool stuff. Realm of Toys is much more like an artistic preview video promotion, where Teflon has some really cool, almost like comic style scenery type stuff that he approaches. So check those guys out.
So we might have to form a tag team here, Travis.
I hate to say it, guys, but I mean, if that happens, I feel bad for Brick, because like I said, we're the outsiders. Punk's Hogan. He's just going to turn on Brick. I mean, that's just what's going to happen.
Right? Next thing you know, Brick will be fighting on our side. So it's really Punk's
Exactly.
Problem, right?
Exactly. So beyond the shelf, right? We wanted to talk this week, a little bit about, how people integrate their toys in everyday life. You saw it in all those pictures, right? You've got folks, who hang them in their cars, keep them at their desks, pop them off the shelves. The first rule of toy collecting, TOYLEET 101, is let the plastic breathe. Get that crap out of the box, right?
Absolutely. Toys should not be left in the box. Toys are meant to be played with.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you take a little further than I would, right, Ed? Because as the song was saying, right, you take it to the mud and you take it out for sailing. I keep it at home.
Yeah, I definitely. I take my toys everywhere. I mean, I'll just throw a toy in my pocket as I'm walking out the door, just in case I happen to see something I like, and I'll just snap a photo of it. All day during the warmer months, I'm out in the creek with them or in the mud doing whatever. Right? My toys, like everybody laughs, because they say, oh, you shouldn't leave your toys on a shelf in a vanilla pose. My toys are on a shelf in a vanilla pose because they never stay in the same place on the shelf more than a couple of days because they're always getting taken down, thrown in a backpack, and taken out to the creek. So,
yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, for the most part, I kind of roll with my stuff on the shelves. But as much as I try to keep them on the shelves, if I could show you my desk right now, I've got figures scattered all over it because, I pick them up and I kind of like just, move them around in my hands while I'm sitting here, fidgeting. And also because my youngest, son of wonder, as the great Largo refers to him, he will come in and grab my figures. He has now found a way to come into my office, and he does like a daily, count of what might be new in a box.
Yeah.
And says, "Where'd you get that, Dad? What's that, Dad?"
It's sad because your son has a better idea of your inventory than you do. So
probably, yeah, he probably does. So he definitely comes in here and grabs stuff. In New York, for those that aren't familiar, both Ed and I are from New York, different sides of the state, but one of the things that the state had done back before COVID is they got rid of all the plastic bags in New York. You have to use those reusable grocery, like the reusable, kind of tote bags is kind of what they are. So we got a ton of them. And basically that ends up being my youngest's way to transport them from my office to the areas that he decides to play with them. But what's really cool for me, and I love to see, is he kind of goes beyond just, collecting toys and playing with them. But he'll actually bust his phone out now and start to snap pictures of his own, which I think is really cool.
That's nice, dude. Yeah. Luke started doing that. I have Luke's original YouTube channel that he started when he was he must have been like 7, 8 years old. And he did some like really, I don't want to say they were poorly done, but they were rough, right? Stop motions on like his Game Boy or whatever, handheld game system that could take pictures and had a stop motion program on it and stuff. So,
how old is he?
He's 18 now. So, I mean,
okay. So he's a couple years younger than my oldest.
Yeah.
My oldest got into what was called stick bots.
Walmart. Yeah. Yep.
Luke had like a kit. Yep. Yeah. They had a kit and it came with stuff, and it was,
they had suction cups on there for their hands and stuff. They were cool
for their hands and their feet. And
they came with a little tiny camera.
Yep.
And the tripods and all that. Yeah. Stick bots.
They came with that. And my oldest son, he was kind of into it back then. Like I remember him in our first house in the kitchen, he would just take out some of the stick bots and then he started taking out other things. But I had an old Android smartphone that he would, just play around with.
Oh yeah.
And using that to snap some really horribly like 3.2 megapixel photos, as he was trying to make his little stop motion stuff with the app that the stick bots had. And then I think he went to his Game Boy and, messed around with it. So folks use toys in a ton of different ways. It's not just sitting on the shelf. A great example, which unfortunately didn't come to complete fruition, was the AWalk board game, which would absolutely be taking your toys off the shelf. By Jeremy Jernigan and what was it? Authority Figure, I think, is the company. But they had, they had a board game, which was one of the big things that like pulled me into AWalk, and the idea that I could sit there and play, with these 6-inch, really detailed, cool figures with some really kick-ass weapons. And, I could play a board game out of them. Yeah. And hopefully someday we'll see something.
That would have been so fun to just like set up a table like they have some of those D&D tables right now. This had its own board game or board, right, for the game. But like just have a camera above it, right? So while you're doing the whole game and showing the battle and stuff, it would have been a lot of fun.
I completely had planned to do some, once as you know, I was like buyer number 1 or 2 on that when it went live on Cato's channel that night. My intention was to, connect with folks on here in the community and set up a board.
Yeah,
and,
you and I talked about
cameras
on over streaming
the game. Yeah, I thought it'd been fun. Yeah, absolutely, man. I'm hoping something still comes from it. I haven't heard anything in a while. I hope Authority Figure continues to move forward with their concepts because I think it was a really cool thing. But
for sure.
That's one way you take them off the shelf, and play with them. Toy Domination has a game that he's working on. I don't know if it's a freely available game. I follow him from time to time, not as frequently as I'd like to. But he has some cool stuff there. And I've watched him kind of do play testing or something on the show.
Yeah.
So maybe something from him will come out,
Yep.
look forward to, an opportunity to use our figures. I don't know if that's tied to like just the 1/18th world building figures, or if it's,
Yeah, I don't know what
it can be
his is tied to,
universally used for like, the 1/12th scale stuff too.
I mean, that could have created a whole thing, right? With people building dio pieces and stuff to go onto the board. I mean, it could just, blow right up. I mean,
Could have made a Hero Click style hexagon board thing out of
oh yeah,
some
hell yeah,
hexa
dude.
stack stands,
Yep.
use the 1/2-inch stands and just build a whole board that's magnetized together, so you don't have to worry about it shuffling around. You could have
Oh
leveled them
yeah.
up and used them in different stands to use the different heights for different battle benefits and things.
Yep.
I'm just saying, it would
Just
have been
saying,
cool.
right? You could actually put some spinners on the hexa stack so you could control the points, right? So like every figure starts out with 10 points, and if you get hit by
Hero
General
Clicks, right?
yeah, right. You could have done that right on your hexa stacks, dude.
Yeah, that would be cool. I think Joe just said something. He used Mythic Legion figure when Jesse Arnold was on. Oh, okay, that's cool. I'll have
That's
to go
awesome.
back and
So
check
they
that
are,
out.
yeah, they are big enough for 12. So
Yes,
yeah,
Fat
like
Red, you are a world builder for sure.
yes. So going on to the topic,
Yeah.
like for a year, the last year I worked at my last company I worked for, I did desktop pictures almost every day. Just took one figure to work with me, took a bunch of random pictures, during the day when I was either on a phone call or in a meeting that was, boring as shit on Teams or whatever, and just tap some pictures, post them up on IG, and like a couple of those pictures that were in our little video were from that. So
yeah. Well,
and
one of
then,
the pictures in there was one of my recent pictures that I took as we were doing one of the Saturday night things with Oz. I had that camera back there, and I turned my lights off, and I was trying to take some cool pictures with my Masterverse stuff, and really kind of messing around with that stuff. So yeah, definitely taking it off there and getting some cool photos.
Toy photography is kind of really blown up. As you can see, some of those pictures that were in there, like the GI Joes. I mean, that one picture of me sitting on the porch with my Ultimate Soldier collection, I was.
Oh yeah.
Shit, dude, that was my daughter who's 25. She was a year old when we moved into that house, and that was a year later.
Wow.
So that was 23 years ago, my man. So I mean, I was 27.
Nice.
So I mean, I've been doing toy photography my whole life, right? I mean,
yeah,
I used to do toy photography, take my toys out to the crick and in the snow and stuff like that, and used an old 35 millimeter camera where you had to plug the flash bulb in the top of it to get the flash, So
one of my best friends and I, he was into Warhammer, and I swear his stepdad like owned a bar, and he would get people in there that would just hawk things that probably fell off of trucks. And one day he came home with a video camera, and we were just using the video camera and the Warhammer figures. And he had one of those big, back in the day, I didn't know what it was, but he had a styrofoam diorama board that you play Warhammer on that he had bought from like a local toy, hobby shop for it. So we would like try our best to really make some very crude. I can only imagine what that sounds like now, 20 something, well, 25, almost 30 years later, when he was doing when we were doing that. I wonder what that looks like now. I'd be like, oh my God, that's more embarrassing than when I wrestled. So, like those are, the times, but you can use toys for so much, man. One of the things that we recently, connected on, Ed, was I went to that local toy show right after PowerCon last year, and I ran into the famous flocker. I always forget his name. Angelo, he does something that I didn't know if too many people did. And obviously there's the, the action figure comic book groups and stuff out there. Like they do all of that, comic book style action figure photos. And he does something like that where he basically has created these photo graphic novels almost, where he's got a story he's going through, using the action figure.
He's Build-A-Rama on Instagram, and he has like he doesn't do the whole comic book on there, but he'll post like highlight pages from the comic books that he does on there. But he's built like all those things that are used in his photos. I mean, other than he does mostly 1/6 scale GI Joe Adventure Team stuff. All like the props and the backgrounds and stuff like that. Unless he's outside, he's built it all. And even for outside, he's built like wooden bridges and just phenomenal stuff. And the cool thing about Angelo, I actually donated a bunch of figures to him. I love where you're going.
I know right where you're going with this, Ed.
He would use them in his classroom to help his students learn and stuff. And teach them how to play. I mean, and he's a school teacher, and he would bring a bunch of figures, and the students would get to take these figures home. So he was trying to collect some figures, and I had a bunch of ones that I wasn't doing anything with. So I sent them over to him with some uniforms and accessories and stuff like that. So he brought them into his class and let the kids take them home, because sometimes these kids take them home and they don't have anything really at home, and they fall in love with that toy. I was like, dude, if they want it, let them take it home. I'll send you some more, right? It's like, so that's a really cool thing. And he's so check him out, Build a Ram on Instagram. He does some really awesome photographs.
He's a cool dude, and I had the opportunity to meet him in person at that toy show and connect with him, and it was even more of a connection because he knew who you were. And when that all kind of came together, it was like, holy cow, like this is the guy you were talking about, and had no idea he was right down the road from me, and actually teaching in my kids' schools, which I thought was really cool. And for those that aren't familiar, I live in a very interesting socioeconomical school district. So there are a lot of kids in our district that are homeless. We have actually one of the largest homeless populations in the area. So someone like him, Angelo, doing that, and folks like yourself donating those things to people that are giving back to students in those schools and stuff. It might be the only toy that kid gets for a year, or it might be the only toy he gets for many years. So a really cool thing that you did, Ed, and that Angelo really does. So definitely, if you guys can find him online, go check him out and give it a go.
And he does sell really cool stuff. He does sell printed versions of the comic books. At least he used to. I don't know if he still does.
He was when I saw him last year.
Yeah. He was doing it on a website that he built. So really cool stories. I mean, like, his stories are fascinating. And he's another guy, right? He takes his toys out to the woods. He takes them out, wherever he's going, right?
To the water. That's what made me, like, I instantly knew, like, you guys were in the same realm of stuff, because it was that 1/6 stuff. And then, like, he's at the crick style woods. And I was like, and the flocking, like, it was like, this looks like stuff I've seen on Ed's page. So yeah.
And that's what Jeff, that was on Sunday night with us, not on the show, but he was in the chat there, Jeff Skunkworks. He does all sorts of that stuff too, and him and Angelo are buds also. So
well, and there's other things that people do with them. People take them places. You alluded to this, right? You take them to places, I would say in some cases would be considered unconventional, right? There was that guy, he got sponsored by Disney. He's sponsored by Hasbro, and he's the biggest YouTuber we know.
Right.
He took those down to Disney, and he was all over that paid trip to Disney by, walking around with toys. No, I kid. But we saw all those photos last year when Punk was out before PowerCon with his figures, and he was putting them up, in random spots in
some of those
Disney.
pics in that video were from one of the G.I. Joe's figs I'd taken on 2 different vacations. Showed him laying in a beach chair. That wasn't at my house. That was actually on the beach, and I was sitting in the chair next to him, and Luke snapped that picture of Joe in the recliner chair, and that,
and you have one
door he's standing in front of is actually kind of funny, because that's the men's bathroom door at the beach, the little John at the beach they had. So it's like,
So there's a ton of things you can do with it. Don't leave them in the plastic. Plastic is meant to breathe. If you feel the need to keep it in plastic, get a second one if you're storing it. I try not to judge people. Enjoy your toys the way you want.
Let me tell you a couple stories about other things with this taking your toys places, right? There's a lot of people that are afraid to take their toys places because of the embarrassment of it, right? So I was at the crick one time taking pictures pictures. What's he saying?
Hold on. You want to pull that up?
Yeah.
Dude,
he was gonna call it YouTube land, is what he was trying to do. He was trying to buy.
I thought he was gonna. I had heard rumors on the dark web he was gonna call it Punk's Palace and kick all the characters out.
Kick frickin' Cinderella and Mickey Mouse out of there, right?
You can only ride skateboards through the places. He was gonna get rid of all those little zooms people drive around in and just ride skateboards.
Yeah, instead of the parade, it was going to be a bunch of dudes just doing skateboard tricks down a long ramp and stuff. Yeah.
And of course, what the castle would be. It wouldn't, it'd be King's Castle, King Punk.
Right.
Awesome. But, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there, but that had me laughing.
Yeah. So I was at the crick one day taking pictures. I think I had, I don't know, maybe some G.I. Joe or some Valaverse figures or something. And these 2 dudes were hiking through the trail, because one of the places I go is like right off one of the side trails. And these two dudes are walking by. They were probably, maybe your age, a little bit younger than me. And I was snapping pictures like, hey, how you doing? I'm like, I'm doing good, man. And they're like, what are you doing? I'm like, taking some, action figure photos for my Instagram page and stuff. And they're like, oh man, that's awesome. You mind if we sit down and watch? And they sat down and watched and talked to me about like, how they used to collect, turtles and He-Man and all these. We talked probably for like an hour when I was taking pictures, great time, right? It was just like out of nowhere, these guys, I've never seen them again, never seen them before, didn't know who they were, never asked them their names, right? They took my Instagram ID so they could follow me and stuff. But and then another time, one of my buddies that was into the GI Joe big figures, like I was back in the day on Facebook, he lived out in California and he built this huge UFO out of like cardboard, styrofoam, and then it like covered the whole thing in aluminum foil and took it out to this park in the middle of California somewhere, like in San Francisco, I think he lived. And he was doing the thing, and this family walked by and was like, oh, hi, that's pretty cool. What are you doing? He's like, taking pictures for my Facebook, and blah, blah, blah. And they actually ended up helping him take pictures, right? The one kid was like holding up the UFO with the string, so it looked like it was flying. The other kids were like setting up the figures and poses, and the mom and dad were helping and stuff. It's like, don't be embarrassed. Most people are either going to think you're really weird and avoid you, or else they're going to walk up and start talking to you about, whatever you're doing, maybe jump in and help you, whatever.
I might have to start doing it. Pack one. I always bring my bag with me everywhere I go. And I bring a notebook and a notepad so I can, journal, I guess is what it would be called. So I can things down. And yes, I saw that. That's what had me chuckling when you were speaking. Is there is definitely a small world joke in there for sure, Kyle. That was like you didn't miss a beat there, brother. But so I might have to pack something in the bag once in a while just so that I can, I'm going to Toronto later this year. I might have to do, there might be a TOYLEET tour where,
taking a picture from top of the CN Tower in Toronto, man. Fuck,
we're supposed to be going there. That's the plan. That we're going to be at Money in the Bank, at the what is it, whatever their big venue is up there. We're going to be going to a Blue Jays game. So, definitely. I mean, I don't do it. I don't know that it's I feel weird. Because I'm kind of over it. 20 years of my wife saying, "Hey, you play with little dudes in tighty whities," because I collect wrestling action figures.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of numb to it at this point. I'm on YouTube talking about it. At the end of the day, I guess I got some confidence when I came up with the idea of Hexastack, because I was like, well, now it's a business. You can't give me a hard time. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm just like loving my toys. Yeah. So,
I mean, it's kind of funny because, I've collected toys my whole life. So like when I was married to my ex-wife, Luke's mom, I mean, I had a man cave. I had shelves all over. I was always working on toys, always customizing all sorts of stuff. So, I mean, it was nothing new to her, but I live alone now. Right. And she came over maybe for the first time after a year of not being, coming to my house. Not that we didn't talk or anything, but like she just never had to come over. So, and actually come in. And so she came in the one day because we were talking about something, and like, I have toys literally all over my house, in my living room, in my kitchen. My one huge dio is like the centerpiece of my kitchen. I mean, like you can't sit at my kitchen table and not see my Egyptian tomb dio, right? And she's like, wow. I was like, yeah. She's like, well, I see you're still a lot of fun. I'm like, hell yeah, I'm still a lot of fun. I'm gonna play with my toys till I'm dead, man.
Yeah, I mean, that's absolutely how it's got to be, man. Like, if you lose that piece of you, it can definitely mess with a person, right? Yeah. And it gives you a little piece of joy, right? If you're providing and doing the things you need to.
It's therapy, man. It's
that's exactly what it is, right?
Some guys go out and work with wood. Some guys go out and do whatever they got to do with their cars, whatever. Mine just happens to be toys. I've never been a car guy. As long as it gets me from point A to point B. But hell, you give me a cool plastic figure that looks just like the characters I saw in wrestling growing up or currently watch. It brings me to the moment. And if I can have one of those guys kick the crap out of another guy in a ring, and then you give me a cage, tables and chairs and ladders and entrances, that was like everything I could dream for. I'll never forget, speaking of taking your toys off the shelf, like when Ange and I first moved in together, I was collecting, I had some Joes and I had some Power of the Force stuff. And there was an extra room in the apartment that we lived in. So she said, go ahead and put your stuff in there. And we set it up as an office. It's where our computer went and stuff like that. But other than that, it was just, an empty room. So it was full of all my toys and stuff. And then I was taking pictures and doing my customizing thing, and she never really understood that I actually like physically played with the toys, right? Like not like I did when I was a kid, but pretty damn close. So
Yeah.
I took the day off of work one time and decided to stay home. And I was on the stairs in our apartment, and I had like a truck up at the top of the stairs, a GI Joe military Jeep, and I made like a fake winch out of some spools and wrap rope around it. And then at the bottom of the stairs, I had these Joes like getting pulled up, in a sled, and I'm like, making all the noises. And she walked in the door, right, and it was just like, it was just like your mom catching you doing something you shouldn't do when you're a teenager, right? It was
Right.
I was like, I stopped for a second. She looked at me. I looked at her. She didn't say anything. She just kind of scooted around me, went up the stairs into the bathroom. She's like, I'm going to be in here for about half an hour. Okay. I was like, okay, I got to finish up my adventure. I'll talk to you when you're done.
Right. That's me. I got the stories all the time. I never had them on the shelf, because I always had, prior to, having kids, I was like, no, those are my brothers that he was playing with in the bedroom. Like, nah, me, my 3.5-year younger brother, he still plays with that crap. Not this dude. I'm way too cool for that. But then when I got married, it was like, well, I got a kid now. I got a little boy. I got to get him wrestling figures and action figures. So boom. But I never had him on a shelf because, he's young. He's playing with him. I'm playing with him. Yeah. So my story is very similar to yours, with the exception that my wife knew what I was doing, and it wasn't a surprise. She didn't walk into the room and be like, "Oh my goodness, he's still playing with the toys." It was, "Hey," I asked my oldest, "Hey, you want to grab the toys, and we'll grab them from the bedroom, and we'll bring them out and watch TV. We'll watch wrestling while we play with the wrestlers." And he's like, "Yeah, let's do it, Dad." And like, we'll go out there and do it. And and then he disappears, and he's in bed for a half hour. My wife's like, "You're playing with those toys by yourself, and your son's been in bed for 30 minutes. To which I'm like, "Yeah, but I got a pay-per-view to finish here, kid.
Right.
The title's on the line in the main event, and I need to see who wins. Yep. I haven't figured it out yet." So totally, definitely.
Having a kid definitely helped because, of course, Luke, as you can expect, is named after Luke Skywalker because I was always been a huge Star Wars fan.
Why isn't he named after Lone Star?
Well, because I didn't know that was actually a ripoff at that point in time. I didn't understand that point. I was always misinformed that Spaceballs is a ripoff of Star Wars.
You were one of those.
I'm very happy that
you were one of those flat earthers. You were one of those flat earthers.
But I didn't know any better. My uncles, who took me to see Star Wars as a kid, they
didn't tell you?
No, they told me a lie, man. So I lived a lie my whole life.
Well, I'm happy to have shown you Fuel the Schwartz.
If I was a young man and Luke was born now, I would definitely name him Lone Star, right? But
I mean, that makes sense to me.
Right. He's
it's either that or Pizza the Hut. Right. It's either that or Pizza the Hut, right?
Well, I'd name him Lone Star Yogurt Kozak would be his name.
That would be great. That's
awesome. So I had all sorts of Star Wars toys, and then like they were making like I can't remember what they were called, but they were like smaller figures that weren't posable. They just had like arms that kind of like went up and down on the shoulders, with vehicles and stuff. So I started buying those for Luke, and he'd come in my room even as a baby. He'd sit on my knee and just continuously push like the button on my AT-AT or my AT-ST or my Millennium Falcon or whatever ships made noise. He's constantly pushing the buttons because he wanted to hear the explosions and stuff. So then it was just a bigger excuse to buy more toys. So
absolutely.
Let's pop through the chat real quick. We got a couple.
Yeah, let's do that, and then we'll close up here on the topic and touch base on some other things.
He could be an 8th dwarf. Forced Ego the dwarf. Awesome stuff, bud.
I love that.
Between He-Man and WWF, all I did as a kid was run around in my underwear. Yep. When I was a kid, we had underoos, so you could be any superhero you wanted with a t-shirt and your underpants.
Yeah, I have pictures that my mom has of me drawing on myself to look like the Ultimate Warrior and stuff in a pair of underwear, like, trying to the tassels and stuff and whatnot. So yeah, I can relate.
Absolutely, Todd. I have a nephew who was very much into Star Wars and a couple other lines. And when he was younger, when I was still married to my ex-wife, I would buy him lightsabers for every single birthday or Christmas or whatever. It's the most annoying lightsaber noises I could find. I always got for him just to drive his mom and dad crazy. So
I can tell you right now, So my wife has, some siblings and they have kids. We were, our kids were growing up at the same time as their kids. I didn't have a lot of money. I wasn't very well off. So I didn't always have a lot to give them as toys. We give them gifts and stuff, but
Right.
none of their kids were all real like toy play with collectors. I mean, they had their stuff, but nothing like me or my kids.
Right.
But my brother's getting ready to have his firstborn, and it's a boy. And he's going to be born in the next month or so. And I can tell you right now, my brother took very good care of, because I was the only one with kids. My brother's only 3.5 years younger than me, so he's in his mid-30s now, having his first child. Our sister doesn't have any children, so he's my first nephew on that side of my family.
Yeah, on your side of the family. Yeah.
Exactly. So and what my brother did for my boy, my son, my oldest specifically, and then both my other children too, my daughter and my youngest.
It's a lot easier though when it's the first nephew, right? Because like my first nephew was spoiled as shit, right? I mean, it was the first nephew, right? Now that there's 7 of them, it's a little harder to do that.
And that's what happened on the other side of the family. There's 10 grandkids, so there's 10 of them. So it's like, oh, there's a birthday every month. If there's not a birthday, there's Christmas. So it always became a lot. So you couldn't do as much. But with only having one on my brother's on my side of the family, and my brother having always done really a lot for my kids, I fully plan to try to get his kid into AWOC.
Oh, nice.
And because one, I mean, he's young, so it'll be setting him up in the future, but they're so durable. They're cool. They're definitely got that kiddish look and feel to them. The colors are so bright and stuff. Yeah, I will definitely be looking to get him. I might have to pull some weapons, right? Because he's younger.
For sure.
But
like
banging around the
thing,
plastic
right?
toys.
People always talk about how kids don't play with toys anymore. Kids don't play with toys anymore because their parents don't encourage them to play with toys.
And put them in front of electronics. It's a lot more easier to distract. It's less of a mess for the parents to have to clean up after. Physically.
I was down on the ground. I would have Luke's bat cave and stuff set up and playing with him with the bat cave and all sorts of stuff all day long, right? Just like you with your kid in the wrestling, right? It was just, I did it. So Luke was right there playing with me, and he'd be like, absolutely. Oh, no, Dad, I get the motorcycle, not I don't want the Batmobile. I want the Bat Cycle. Okay, have the Bat Cycle, dude. I don't care.
I'm sure I will be pulling out extra WWE Elite figures as he gets older, getting him like one of the arenas so that he has a little arena to play in. Trying to make sure he has as much of a connection to the action figures as my son was able to have because of my brother during that time. So it's all about taking that stuff off the shelf. And
your youngest, when I sat with him at PowerCon, man, he was having a great time playing with the Star Wars figures. PowerCon with him, he's having a lightsaber battle right there at your table. It was awesome, right?
Oh, he'll play for hours with that stuff. And if you put something on TV with the same kind of lure and stuff for him while he's playing, he can go to town for a long time. He sits up there, he's watching, then he's playing, and he's watching, and now he's got his phone, so he snaps pictures and stuff at times. And
that's awesome.
I'm looking forward to see how he progresses with the picture stuff. I'm trying to encourage that because it's a creative outlet for him.
Oh yeah.
And he seems to be really excited about it because he'll send a picture and like he'll take the picture and then send it to me. Hey, Dad, look what I got. So then what I'll do is take the pictures of like I did last week, and I'll send them over to him. Like, you see what I got and what I did, and then see if he keeps pursuing it, and playing with it. And one of these days I'll come in here. He'll have the lights out of my office. He'll have the colored lights and stuff, and I'll go in the room and he'll be doing a bunch of stuff in there.
You'll come in someday. You'll be sitting at your desk on your computer,
just editing, and I'll editing photos, dude. Exactly.
I'm making a whole story comic book, Dad. Don't mind me.
I could only hope. I could only hope. So kind of in closing, right, Ed, there's a lot of ways folks can take the plastic off the shelf and go beyond just collecting a toy and bringing it into everyday life. We talked about teachers bringing them to the school to make them part of the educational process. In some ways, making, some kids year, month, day, whatever, right? And from parents as uncles and whatnot, continue to engage with kids to bring him into your office and have him in your office and, having a conversation with somebody that you work with. They're like, what's that? Why do you have that? Or taking pictures in the woods and having folks. So, enjoy your toys, take them out, play with them, be a big kid,
don't grow up. Don't grow out of that. Cause it's, that's all we got. I mean, life is boring. So, I mean, there's enough stress in life. Why worry about, all this other stuff? If you're stressed out, take one of your action figures out for a walk. I mean, we just made that video at the end of our show a couple weeks ago where I had, my Gomez out in the woods and, spinning them around and having a good time with them. Right. It's like,
exactly.
They're your buddies, man.
Absolutely. So with that said, we're kind of coming to the end here.
Yep.
We'll jump into before we touch base on kind of what's coming up beyond next week's show. We have next week's topic right here.
Yep.
So we'll throw to we'll throw to that. Let me just pull that back up on the screen here. Next week we're going to be talking toys in space, from action figures to Legos. So we're talking your Star Wars. We're talking the originals. Spaceballs. No, I'm kidding. Star Trek, things like that. You have your Lego. So we'll be talking about a bunch of different toy lines that have been out there that are space themed, right? AWOCs might fall into that. I'll try to ease off a little bit on the AWOCs, but I will obviously talk about it because of the lore. But yeah, from action figures, to Legos, toys in space. So for folks that are interested in that, that's what we'll be talking about next week. Look forward to entertaining you with that. That said, Ed, what do you got on the radar for the next week, brother?
Radar for this coming week. Let's see. We got everybody. First of all, not that this is a second shout out for him, but everybody go check out Payne tomorrow night on his channel. He's making his comeback on. Hold on real quick. What's up, Plastic Skulls? What's happening, brother? He's making his comeback on YouTube after his little necessary vacation, we'll call it. Go support Payne. He's a great guy. Talks about all the same stuff, playing with your toys and using it as a way to just get yourself back into feeling good about your life, right? Number 2, Thursday night, Punks with, I can't remember who this
Punk with Friends. It's going to be the photographer Emerald Knight.
Oh yeah, John Emerald Knight Photos. Yep. So John will be on Punk's channel at I think 9 or 10 o'clock. I can't remember what time that show starts. I always get him confused Thursday nights. But John's a great photographer too. Does amazing work. So he'll be on with Punk. We all met him at PowerCon. Great guy.
He's a big wrestling fan, by the way.
Big wrestling fan too. And then Friday night, late at night, 11:30 or so, I'll be modding for Radnom on his late night craft and chill. And then Punk said 9 p.m. on for that show. Thank you, Punk. And then Saturday I'll be on the Clubhouse with Oz and the team. Thanos Copter will be there. Joe G pops in when he can.
Maybe Mr. Wonderful will show up.
Punk is in there usually. Mr. Wonderful will be there possibly. And then Sunday night I'll be modding for Hella Dope on their show. So that's at 9 p.m. on Hella Dope channel.
Good deal. Yeah, I've got nothing scheduled. We do have some more content coming up, right, Ed? Like, we won't make all the announcements, right? But there's other shows you and I, as TOYLEET, will be invading. We can say
taking over, man.
Right, taking over. That's the whole point. TOYLEET takeover. You're either with us or you're against us. Please be with us. It's just going to be more fun that way.
We don't want to embarrass you anyway, Punk, because when we hit 5,000 subscribers before you, it's going to be really embarrassing.
Ooh, the race to 5K.
Yeah.
Okay, I like it. You got a head start, guy. You got a head start.
We had to give him a head start. A year and 4,000 subscribers head start.
Exactly. We got Largo just jumping in. So hey,
what's up, Jim? Thanks for stopping in, man.
Yeah. So nothing scheduled.
We're going to work on some regular content. Hopefully that'll be coming up soon. And we got some things going on, and some. We got we're going to talk about. Yep. Fuel the Schwartz. That's right. Coming up. May's coming up for Star Wars month. And you and I were also going to talk about how if anybody has any topics that they'd like us to discuss, drop it in a comment. Shoot Travis or myself a message on Instagram. We're happy to talk about anything. We're trying to do some toy related topics that aren't the necessary, covering the, this new toy or this, HasLab or whatever, right? We want to get into the topics that are, toy related, but not directly about specific toys.
Yeah, and we'll be having some guests coming on in future months. We're looking towards more like July. We're not going to do a weekly guest. We're thinking more along the lines of once a month, having a special guest come in. We have certain topics. We have about I think we're running the numbers right. We got like 25 to 30 topics kind of logged up. We're working on. We may vote some of those amongst the community here to just get some insight into what folks want to see. But obviously, if you have a topic you'd like to hear our perspective and words on, more than welcome to. We do have some topics that would align with certain individuals in the community that would be good to have them in to just talk about. It's hopefully not going to be the same old, because we got so many people in the toy network and the community.
And I think we'll talk about this later at some point, but we'll also start branching out because we do a lot of 1/12 discussions, but we'll branch out into, once in a while having a 1/6 discussion, a 1/18 discussion, because you and I have both talked about 1/18 in
the world building
in that scale, and Wilhelm Toy and Hobby's got the 1/18 show on Sundays, so it's like there's a lot of fans of the 1/18 scale and a lot of cool figure lines coming out now, like with Delta 17 and all those coming out. So
absolutely, and we'll continue to grow that, but it will be toy. And I saw that.
God, I love that guy.
Yeah, he's good. He's going to be our first non-guest, meaning that we're not going to have him on.
Right.
No,
we're just going to have an avatar of him and throw darts at him all night. We'll put him on your wall behind you. Yeah.
We we'll talk, pop culture-ish stuff, like we did about Deadpool movie coming out, just kind of on that. We have I collect a lot of comics that I'm starting to get into, the Conan thing. So we'll talk about that stuff. But if it's toy or toy adjacent, I guess I would say.
Planet of the Apes movie's coming out next month.
Oh yes, dude! May 10th, I think, is the special early showing. Yep. I'm gonna get the Wednesday night showing. I'm gonna go see that. So I'll definitely, So there's that. I think it would be safe to say is the appropriate terminology we are talking toys most of the time, but we will talk toy adjacent subjects too.
Exactly. Toy
is kind of the approach there. So so looking forward to that. I do have about 24 days left before Hexastat goes online for sale. So that is definitely a big priority of mine right now. I am signed up for a toy convention here in upstate New York the day after I go live. So we'll go live on the 18th, which is a Saturday, and then Sunday I'm going to be doing a toy convention on 5/19 here. I'll have 2 tables there. There will be a his tank for sale. There'll be some other 4 Horsemen figures for sale and a bunch of other stuff, along with a table dedicated to Hex and Stack and promoting that. So just some unloading some stuff. So I got that in my works. We're obviously going through some rebranding here at the TOYLEET network or TOYLEET channel here, and we'll continue to work on that. We're going to be discussing some additional content.
Like the segments we're doing, or you got some ideas for other segments, don't hesitate to drop Travis or I a line about, hey,
please.
I'd like you guys to do something, or because we're talking about, maybe adding a custom corner of a figure that we like, that we've seen on the socials, that's a custom. We're thinking about doing that. So we're not opposed to adding, a couple of segments, because we don't we have a topic that we actually get to, unlike somebody that waits till the last 5 minutes of the show. Names not mentioned. Punk, but
dude, he didn't do that this past week. He went on.
No,
that
he
show
actually.
He called
actually got
YouTubers out. He put them on
topic.
blast.
Yeah,
he put them on blast hard. Man.
Yeah, man. He made people cry. I had to I had to block so many members on his channel last night because he had so many people just pissed off, swearing at him in the chat. I was blocking these chats and deleting them before he even saw them because I didn't want his ego to deflate. Because
Yeah. So before we cut out here, I'm just gonna throw something up. No one in the network does Transformers. So I'm not a big Transformers collection person, and that's because I hate having to transform them. I literally need a YouTube video to be able to transform them. My youngest son loves them. He sees them, but he doesn't transform them. He literally, hey, Dad, can you turn this into the human? Can you turn this into the robot for me? Can you turn it into the animal? Can you turn it into the dinosaur?
Yep.
And I'm like, dude, you had me transform it 3 times in the last 12 minutes, and it takes a long time, and I break them. I hate them. So I'm not a big Transformer person.
I never was a Transformers fan. I liked the cartoon when I was a kid, but I think I had maybe 2 Transformers and a GoBot when I was a kid, and I left him in robot form all the time. I never had him in the truck form because robots are cool. That was the cool thing about Mask. It was easy, right? You pop a button.
I liked Beast Wars, I think is what it was called when I was a kid.
Beast
I think
Wars.
that was a
Yeah.
Transformers one.
Yep.
It was like that. It was one of the first, digital animation type, 3D type.
Yeah,
shows.
it was a computer animated TV.
Yeah,
show.
that's the one, the computer animated one. So, but yeah,
Thanks for popping back on, Payne.
Thanks, Payne. Appreciate it, brother. That said, again, check us out next week. Let me just throw that up here for a second. We'll be talking about toys in space, from action figures to Legos.
Toys in space.
Before we throw up the outro, I'm just going to throw this up here real quick. Because why? Because I think it sounds cool.
We're breaking up from the cabinet, toys on the desk. It's the new habitat. TOYLEET take over everywhere. Excess stack high in the air. Every day's a playground with Mr. Wonderful. In your office, living room stays remarkable. Action fix hit the trail through the mud and up the sail. It's a toilet life beyond the shelf. We prevail. Join the takeover. Feel the vibe. Toys in our world come alive.
So yeah, just wanted to throw that up there because I spent a little bit of time on that and I thought it was cool. And as Largo said, the tune is a bit catchy. So
yeah, so real quick, let's pop through these last couple of chats and then we'll hit the intro. So yes, Briscoe, I was 30 when the Transformers cartoon was on. You're correct there, sir. I'm an old man. I would Transformers once a week, but no more because they were so difficult. Exactly,
man. I can't take it.
And you're done. Well, that sucks. It's all right, Payne. We promoted your show for tomorrow night 3 or 4 times. So, brother, hopefully everybody pops in and catches you tomorrow night. You're doing a great thing. So, other than that, everybody, thank you for popping in. Thanks for hanging out with us. We'll be back next Tuesday. That's Mr. Wonderful.
And that's Axion Fixed. And we are TOYLEET.
TOYLEET.